Cendrillmon's story in Digimon New Century begins with Wargreymmon's disappearance while it was with Agumon and Gabumon. Jesmon and Gankumon investigate a shoe Gabumon found at the scene, a broken glass slipper that clearly doesn't belong to Wargreymon. When Jesmon picks it up, it suddenly vanishes, transporting Jesmon to a new place where it encounters Chumon. Chumon introduces itself as a servant of Cendrillmon, tasked with assisting distinguished guests. Chumon explains that the glass slipper brought Jesmon to the Ash Castle because it has been chosen as a prince candidate by Cendrillmon's familiars. These familiars search the digital world for qualified candidates and bring them to the castle, where a grand ball will be held to determine the one and only prince. However, it turns out that Chumon is not actually one of Cendrillmon's familiars. It volunteered to help because the number of candidates was overwhelming and Cendrillmon didn't have enough familiars to manage them all. Cendrillmon seems to have taken in many weaker Digimon with nowhere else to go. The ball will take place in 3 days, once enough candidates have gathered, but no one is allowed to meet Cendrillmon before then, as it would affect the fairness of the selection process. While searching for answers, Jesmon encounters Gallantmon, who suspects that Wargreymon is among the candidates forced to participate, just like them. Gallantmon mentions seeing Puppetmon and Skullmammothmon, but not Wargreymon. The two wonder what the ball really entails, as Jesmon protests that it can't even dance, while Gallantmon jokes that if they wanted to dance, they should have given the glass slipper to Lord Knightmon instead. Later, they meet Prince Mamemon, another candidate, who immediately asks if they are royal knights. Gallantmon lies and denies it, believing it would be shameful for a royal knight to be known as being trapped there. Prince Mamemon, convinced of its own importance, tries to hire them as bodyguards for the ball in exchange for promoting them to royal knights, claiming that as a member of the digital world's royal family, the royal knights are technically its subordinates. It also fully believes that it will be chosen as Cendrillmon's destined partner and become the master of the Ash Castle. Gallantmon nearly loses patience. Trying to escape, they discover that the Ash Castle is built inside a crater. Gallantmon agrees to leave while Jesmon stays to search for Wargreymon, but when it attempts to leave, it quickly realizes escape is impossible. The moment they step outside, they are instantly teleported back in, an effect caused by the broken glass slippers, which glow when their power activates. Despite the slippers' glass being broken, they are indestructible, with the shield made of chrome digisoid. Then, they encounter Bielsimon Blast Mode, who says, "This is the realm of magic. Even if you smash the shield, the broken glass slippers will reappear intact." Bielsimon offers to join forces, as Cendrillmon is not easy to beat, but Gallantmon refuses, saying it doesn't trust Bielsimon and questioning why it's not in the dark area where it should be. Bielsimon responds asking why the rudeness, since they are both virus types and should be helping each other. However, Gallantmon stands firm. It becomes clear that the ball is actually a fighting contest rather than a dance, and that Cendrillmon is likely trying to find the strongest candidate among the prince candidates. Gallantmon comes up with a plan. After they team up to deal with the other candidates, Gallantmon will voluntarily admit defeat and let Jesmon become the prince, believing that the young talents should be promoted. Jesmon will then find a way to gather information from Cendrillmon, while Gallantmon goes to rescue Wargreymon, and together they will escape. However, Bielsimon was eavesdropping and warns that it won't be that easy, stating that it is also there looking for someone. Finally, Cendrillmon appears and says, "When the timer reaches midnight, the last candidate standing on the field will become the prince. Dear prince candidates, please fight hard for me." There are too many candidates, and it will take 3 days to finish all the one-on-one matches. Bored, Cendrillmon uses its noble family art skill, which involves dispatching its underlings aboard a bomb resembling a horse-drawn pumpkin carriage as part of a self-sacrificing attack, and eliminates a dozen competitors in one go. Cendrillmon transforms the large glass clock into a launcher, and the clock on it fires a laser beam for its Prism Datebreak move, wiping out all the prince candidates in the vicinity. Bielsimon insists they should team up, as it's clear that Jesmon and Gallantmon are after Wargreymon, who disappeared after getting the broken glass slippers. However, Wargreymon didn't appear at this dance, and judging by the proficiency of Cendrillmon's familiars, it's clear that this isn't the first time the dance has been held. Bielsimon hints that the dances might keep happening because a definitive prince is never found, meaning There's no real way out. Cendrillmon says, use your brain. The fact that Cendrillmon will end its life by itself means there will be no winner at the ball. If we kill each other here, it will only benefit it in the end. This revelation convinces even Gallantmon to agree to work with Cendrillmon for now. Cendrillmon claims Cendrillmon isn't a strong enemy, but the real problem is the fortress. Despite being set on a crater, the palace's glass is as indestructible as the slipper's glass. Cendrillmon then admits that the ball clock is just paused at 12 o'clock. It will continue tomorrow as Cendrillmon still can't find the real prince, and even it can't control the situation. The magic will only end when the prince is found. Cendrillmon adds, the key to removing the magic is to keep Cendrillmon alive. If it dies, the magic will turn into a curse, and the end of the world will come. We'll have to leave here. Gallantmon is suspicious, wondering if Cendrillmon is secretly allied with Cendrillmon as it has too much information. But Cendrillmon denies it, saying, I'm not a demon lord. I come from WeChat, just like Cendrillmon, who barely remembers that time. Cendrillmon then explains, a disaster occurred in WeChat in the past. The disaster was so widespread that the magic organization couldn't help all the Digimon. Chaperomon's companion died during that time. Afterwards, the spurred Chaperomon evolved into Cendrillmon and eliminated the invading enemies, but it also lost its mind and began attacking all Digimon indiscriminately. Initially, we planned to destroy it directly, but Zephagamon thought we were partly to blame for not arriving in time. He proposed sealing Cendrillmon in the volcano instead. This means that this place doesn't belong to their digital world. It used to be part of WeChat, but has now become an independent world, which is why they can't leave the Castle of Ashes. This also means that the prince has long been dead, and there's no way he can be found, so the magic can never be lifted. The prince Cendrillmon has been searching for is its lost companion. Originally, the party was supposed to be attended by familiars, but the magic was affected by Cendrillmon and changed. Although it still couldn't leave, it could use its familiars to pull other Digimon into the Castle of Ashes. Then Cendrillmon asks, so, was Weragarurumon already dead? Cendrillmon responds, the Digimon in other worlds are innocent. Weragarurumon saved you. It wants you to live, but it doesn't want all of this to be based on hurting others. Cendrillmon opposes cooperation, and Jesmon fights against it. Cendrillmon also says, those Digimon that disappeared are still alive. I've observed for a long time, and there definitely weren't so many original familiars. The magic can be lifted as long as you are willing to cooperate with me. It's already midnight, and Cendrillmon asks Cendrillmon to let the Digimon go. Cendrillmon promises to atone for the sins of the magicians who decided to lock Cendrillmon in an endless ball, giving it false hopes. They only wanted to keep Cendrillmon alive. If necessary, Cendrillmon is willing to bear that burden, but begs Cendrillmon to let the others return home. In the end, we see Wargreymon back with Agumon and Gabumon, but he doesn't seem to remember what happened. Agumon says, we don't know what happened either. You've been missing for a long time. It was Jesmon from the Royal Knights who brought you back. Wargreymon responds, why can't I remember anything? It feels like I had a very long dream, one where I seemed to have turned into a mouse. Indeed, the Digimon that disappeared had been turned into Cendrillmon's familiars. It's incredible how this story ties so closely to Cendrillmon's profile information. Cendrillmon inhabits volcanic regions. It lives a quiet life, in solitude and unseen by others at the ash-coated castle, a base made from volcanic ash. When other Digimon visit its castle, however, it holds battle tournaments it calls balls. Cendrillmon holds these contests and engages in constant battles in search of a Digimon capable of defeating it, that it might proclaim this Digimon its prince. Cendrillmon has a great number of attendants searching for candidates who might become its prince. These attendants travel far and wide, always on the prowl as they distribute glass slippers in areas where strong Digimon likely to gain Cendrillmon's favor may live, and directly hand the slippers to very powerful Digimon. If a Digimon possessing a certain level of strength is handed a glass slipper, it is forcibly transported to Cendrillmon's ash-covered castle. This concept is referenced in the story, where Agumon and Gabumon note that only Wargreymon was transported after touching the glass slipper, while they, as rookie-level Digimon, were unaffected. Gankumon then concludes that, like Jesmon's disappearance, the slippers might only affect Digimon with larger data sizes. It's funny when the ball fight starts and Gallantmon finally gets to beat Prince Mamimon. It had been itching to knock the arrogance out of it, but Jesmon kept holding it back until there was finally an excuse to let loose. It's amusing how they show Gallantmon as a bit short-tempered, like when it's around Beelzemon. Gallantmon always seems on edge. It's a pattern we've seen before, like when it argued with Omegamon in other stories.